Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. Do you hear that in the background? It is like peace and quiet. Before I jump into today's topic, I'm pretty much unwinding, like coming on here, doing a live chat, creating content. That's how I actually relax, honestly, because I enjoy doing this. But today, my 4-year-old twins, today was their birthday, so I had a very, very full day with them. It was wonderful, but it took a lot of energy, to say the least. But I enjoyed it. Those of you who follow me on a support group or who are on my personal Facebook or who follow me on Instagram, I'm sure that you guys seen some of those posts. And if you don't, you're welcome to join me on those platforms as well, where you can see, other parts of my life. But you guys, I really wanted to make this video because it's near and dear to me. And a lot of survivors that I've talked to in coaching, basically needed help in this area. So I'm sure everybody probably could benefit from this because, the more emotionally invested we are in someone, the more likely we may be to make excuses for them. So I'm doing a live chat with this because it'll be an easier way for me to get this content out. So let me go ahead and just get into this topic. Anyone jumps in here, YouTube will record this and upload it. So you don't have to worry about that. And, if there's anyone here at the end, I'll open the floor for any questions that you might have about your situation. I'll be more than happy to help you if I can. All right, so let's talk about before you make another excuse for them, watch this. Yeah. Before you make another excuse for someone, I want you to consider, you guys, that they have free will, just like you do. Life is a chain of events, of decisions, and basically cause and effect, you guys. They have free will to make choices. Free will. So if they're deciding to go against your relationship, if they're deciding to not respect your boundaries, or if they're deciding to not reciprocate, they're deciding is the key word. They're deciding, you guys. They have free will, just like you have free will to try to make the effort, try to communicate with them, try to work things out. They're taking their free will and they're using it to do what? Right? But point blank, they have free will, you guys. We have to start letting people's actions speak louder than their words anyway. So if we look at their actions, it should be able to strip away these excuses. But a lot of times, excuses are wrapped up in our emotions, and it keeps you more empathetic towards them and emotionally invested. And once you're doing something like that, you guys, you're basically lying to yourself at that point, because there has to be psychologically an aspect of yourself that's vested in maintaining this connection, even if it's for toxic reasons. But nonetheless, you're in some type of resistance and you don't want to release it. Okay. So not only are they going to be able to kind of lie to you on a certain level, but you're lying to yourself. And I have to say kind of lie to you, because a lot of times, when we're making excuses for someone, they must already be in poor behavior. They're doing something to offend us. They're doing something to offend the connection. They're doing something, you guys. So I have to say kind of lie to you, because even if they're telling you what you want to hear with their mouth, they're showing you something different in their actions. So they're giving you some type of truth, whether they are verbally expressing that to you or not. And a lot of survivors get caught up in what people tell them. And if you're on this channel, I've talked about this before. Most communication is actually nonverbal, you guys. Yeah, we may spend our time talking most of the day, but honestly, the way that communication works, most of it is nonverbal. So I've made videos like years ago on this channel just talking about how to pick up on people's body language, their eye contact, and even things they might be saying something, but what is the tone of their voice? How are they stuttering with it? there's a lot of things that you can pick up if you just learn to study communication a little bit more. If you're not really into that, it might be totally worth your while. And maybe I can, make some more content on it as well. And you can definitely revisit the videos that I've already put up on this topic. Good evening, Just Be Real. Welcome to the live chat. But yeah, we have to let those actions speak louder than anything that they could tell us, and understand that making excuses is because we're emotionally, chances are, overly emotionally invested in this connection. All right. The next thing that I want to point out about making excuses for people is excuses usually equal exceptions. All right. So, and that's a no-no. When we start making exceptions, it's like, okay, well, I have a boundary with this, but you get to violate that. How does that even sound when I say that out loud? So, a rule of thumb for survivors and, people who are being emotionally mature is to know, like, what, I can't make an exception, because you make that exception with them one time, it becomes a habit. And then, this is how you get in a situation where this person is just constantly, repeating these offenses because you made that exception. Excuses also equal going out of the way. So that's, putting more energy into a situation to make it work or to try to meet them where they are. But a bigger question is going to be is, should you be where they are? Is that a location too understanding? So if you're being too understanding, you're going to be in the energy of a doormat. So you don't want to have a doormat energy behind you as well. What else can we say about making excuses? Excuses can also be, complicating things when you should be looking to simplify your life. And with that being said, a good rule of thumb is to try to make things more black and white. And that's going to be another video that I'm going to do next after this one. Because at the end of the day, there was no excuses during the love bomb phase, was it? There wasn't any excuses during the honeymoon phase, or, when they were getting whatever they wanted to get out of you. So you have to think about that. Why weren't there any excuses then? And now there's excuses being needed. So when someone's acting one way and they have a shift in their behaviors, you guys, instead of making excuses for them, we have to address it. And if it's with a narcissist, then that just means you need to just let that connection go, basically. So that's what I basically had here for this excuses, for the content on excuses. I just wanted to give you guys a few things to consider in the realm of before you make another excuse for them. So we're not going to be making any more excuses for odd behaviors, for flaky behaviors, for toxic people, for abusive people, and even for people who are just, they may have self-sabotaging behaviors, habits, or whatever. You shouldn't be in any situation where you need to be decoding people, reading in between lines, because you know what? Real does recognize real. And when someone's really down for you, you don't have to solve this tiny ass jigsaw puzzle. You ever tried to put a jigsaw puzzle together that wasn't for like a 3-year-old, like a grown ass adult one with like 5,000 puzzles? And some people enjoy doing that. But you know what? In real life and in real relationships, that's a fucking headache right there. People who really love you, they're going to make it obvious. They're going to reach out. They're going to reciprocate. They're going to give a fuck, you guys. You're not going to have to sit back and wonder, where the fuck are they? Why aren't they showing up? Fuck all of that. I'm sorry, this is some profanity here, but enough has to be enough, you guys. No more excuses for them. No more. Look at their actions and let that speak just as loud as you want it to be. And let that be the reality, I think. No matter what they promise you, no matter what they said, or if they try to come back around later on and say it was something that it wasn't, actions speak louder than words. No more excuses. Hold people accountable. The reason why people end up in these situations is because they're not making people accountable. And making them accountable doesn't mean getting them to agree. It doesn't mean having them see the error of their ways. It means that there's a cause and effect in my fucking life. If you're going to deal with me, I have standards and boundaries. Once you cross them, there's a consequence. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's going to be handed out. And that's how it has to be, you guys. Whether they understand, whether they're mature or emotionally mature enough or healthy enough to grasp, what you're trying to tell them. It's okay. Let them learn on somebody else's watch. You don't have to break it down for them. Let them, and chances are they're not going to try to figure it out. They'll just find somebody else that'll accept them for who they are, or until that person figures out that they're a piece of shit or they're toxic, and then they'll bounce on them. They'll roam the earth finding, trying to look for someone else. They're not trying to do the work any damn way. Grown ass adults, it just lets you know that this person has some type of emotional baggage. You don't want that in your life. That's too much energy, you guys. It's not, you don't need to rescue them, none of that. And that's another reason for making these excuses. Empaths want to rescue people. They want to help them. They want to pull them from the dark to the light. But you know what? You need to make sure you understand what's your assignment and what's not. Because sometimes we'll take on something and it ends up taking a lot out of us because it wasn't our assignment. Yes. Michelle Dillion says, that is nice to hear. If they really care for you, they will show it. Yes, show. Love is an action word. Like all those sweet for nothings, and especially to the female listeners or those in the feminine energy, is studied, and scientists know a lot of times that women love to hear the right words, but smart women make sure it's followed up by actions. Okay. Yes, you can go ahead and tell me, but follow it up by actions too. That confirms it. That makes it, that validates it. We have to start validating things. We're not getting the receipts, you guys. And I've made videos about that too. We need to fact cross-check, don't let people just tell you anything and gas your head up and then you find out they're just a con artist, So Tracy, Queen Tracy says, how do you know if you're an empath? Well, do you feel like you have a lot of empathy for people? When you hear stories of misfortunes or even happy stories, do you feel like you can take on those emotions? Like you can feel happy for someone that's happy, or if someone's not feeling well, you feel like you can channel the energy of that person, like you can absorb some of that. Or you have like a deeper insight of being able to pick up on people's energies and feelings. So those are some ways to gauge whether you're an empath. Do you feel bad for people? Do you have sympathy and empathy? Do you feel like you might be a healer? Do you take pride in or get excited about helping others? These are some things that can let you know if you're an empath. Usually it's just more about being able to read those vibes and those energies, and not only being able to read them, but want to positively help those that may be in a lower energy. So that's a good way with empath, because even, psychopaths and sociopaths, they may be able to read energy as well, but they damn sure ain't no empath. They're reading it for, to be a trickster, to use it to manipulate. So an empath is going to pick up these energies and these vibes and want to actually do something about it. in a positive light. They want to try to pull this person out, cheer them up, make them feel better, help their situation. But with empaths, we just have to have balance, because we can't save the world, right? You don't want to run yourself through the ground taking on more. That's the thing. Once you have that ability to pick up these vibes, you can use it to help you in life, but you don't want to use it to drain yourself, because you can be like a sponge, and it can become exhausting if you're picking up too many energies and holding on to them, or not knowing how to release and clear your energy too. And the same can go for people who are like psychologists, and someone that may have a job, or even if you're not a psychologist, if you have a friend and you're always listening to their toxicity, or you're surrounded by people who have a lot of needs or have a lot of clouds over them, you have to learn how to cleanse that energy off of you as well. That's how you reach a high mark in being an empath, knowing how to have a level of detachment, even though you can understand it, even though you can feel it, but having that level of being able to not let it absorb inside of you to the point where you're carrying it as well. Because you can help people without, becoming that absorbed in your own emotions, or even knowing how to compartmentalize as well. All right. So I hope that that this has helped. There's another topic that I do want to do, and I'll probably turn it on right after this one, you guys. But I like to compartmentalize my messages, so I don't want to run this all together. So I'm going to do another live chat immediately, and this one is just going to be called like No More 50 Shades of Gray. Okay, so I'm going to start that one. Unless someone has a question on this live chat, I'll answer it before I start it. If not, if you guys want to come right back on to the next live chat, that's fine. I'm just using this to get the content out like I've explained in other videos. And I don't have to do the editing and stuff, so YouTube will do it for me. But I hope that this really does help someone who tends to make a lot of excuses, especially for the people that they care about, whether they're a narcissist or not. And it enables them to stay toxic. We want them to be better. All right. All right, you guys, I'm going to end this one and start another one. See you over if you can make it. You're welcome. Dillians.